everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast and another episode of Infection Critical, where we look at some of the best performing Death Guard lists from the past few weeks. If you guys enjoy this content, please remember to leave a like and a subscribe, and if you really enjoy it, consider becoming a Plague Marine, getting access to our members Discord and all that giveaways and the Plague Surgery, all that good stuff. For now, let's get straight into it. So, very quickly, let's have a bit of a recap. This is normally a bi-weekly video, a bit behind at the moment just because of all real-life things getting in the way. But we look at the best Death Guard performing list of the week/month, depending how long it's been. And we sort of like analyse the lists that are in. So we normally look at 3 in a week, or 3 in a set. And we look at the list they're taking. I try and pick out different ones, all of which have got good results, but we don't just want to look at 3 of the exact same list. I will make a note, though, if there's one particular list that's obviously dominating everything. But in this week, we have actually 3 different lists, which is quite nice. I'm going to look at the units they're taking, and then we're also going to look quickly at the matchups, see where they maybe took a loss, if they did take a loss, or, you know, sort of look at the run that they had to get to the either winning position or the sort of very close to winning position in that event. So first up this week, we have Kevin Rutherford, who managed to take down the Club Champions 2025 event, which is a 26-player GT in, I think it was Canada, this one. Or it might be, no, it's the New Zealand one, I think. This is in New Zealand, I think. It's one of them. It's Canada, New Zealand. I can't remember. There's so many events I have to look at. But he went with a full 5 wins and 0 losses. And he's actually rocking Flyblown host, which is quite cool to see. Flyblown is definitely a choice. Not like I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's you either like Flyblown or you don't like Flyblown. It's kind of like, it's very divisive. I'm okay with Flyblown. It's kind of grown on me a bit, but I still prefer Play Company. I think it's just got more raw power, and it's a very different approach to playing with Flyblown host. But we've also in this one got a Mortialist Flyblown host, which is cool to see. So we're rocking Typhus, Biology Putrefier, 2 Terminator Sorcerers, one of them rocking the Droning Chorus, which is the enhancement that gives this squad assault, so it can advance and still shoot. One of them is rocking the Insectile Murmutation enhancement, so this is going to give the squad reroll 1s to wound if you're shooting at an enemy that's in contagion range, which is quite nice, given that his super shot that he can do, giving it rerolls to 1s to wound on that super shot is quite nice to have. So that's a little bonus, and obviously helping the Death Shroud potentially, you know, hit wounded on 2s rerolling versus any infantry is very nice. Then we're also rocking a Taliman with the Rejuvenating Swarm enhancement. This is the enhancement that gives you you regen to full health at the end of sort of every phase. I imagine this guy's probably more than likely either sitting in the back, or he could be joining the Plague Marines, but if he's sitting on your home objective, it's a little bit of protection against being chipped down from like guard mortars. You know, normally mortars might shoot at you and drop him to like 1 wound, and then obviously next turn he's more than likely going to die, whereas with this you keep regenerating him back to full. It looks to me, it reads like an extra spare 10 points, so you might as well put it on something, but there is a little bit of use in that techie bit there. And if he's with the squad of Plague Marines, then yeah, you know, if it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, I think it's just 10 points to spare. Then we've got a full squad of 10 Plague Marines, rocking a nice mixture of Blight Launchers, Melters, and then heavy Plague Weapons, and obviously a Plasma on the Sergeant. So a bit more focus on the sort of shooting there with the Melters and the Blight Launchers. No Spewers, which is quite interesting, although I suppose them being in Flyblown host, the -1 AP is not as good as the -2 AP, so probably just going for the bit of the, you know, the extra long range shooting firepower, which this detachment generally tends to lack. We've got a squad of Cultists. People think Cultists are useless in Flyblown because they already have Scout. They are most definitely not useless, especially if you've already got Maximum Poxwalkers. They're great to just have a unit that can either sit on home or scout forward, get an early point, or, you know, some secondary scored. There's nothing wrong with them. They're still fine. It's still 50 points. Stealth still helps them a little bit. And they obviously still fall over to any dedicated shooting, but maybe it takes more than people might expect. And you might have 1 or 2 cultists live who then, you know, you can auto pass morale. They can go score another secondary before they die. So that's like not having to expose another unit. But I think more than likely these 10 cultists can also just be sat on home objective. It means that you can push forward with all your Poxwalkers and not have to keep anything back there. Sometimes a single Tallyman can have a struggle screening out a home objective on his own, so this would also sort of fix that problem there. Then we're coming in with the 3 maximum size squads of Death Shroud Terminators. It's kind of a standard in Flyblown. You kind of just bring all the Death Shroud that you can get. They're like one of the most durable units we have, point for point, giving them stealth. They've always got the -1 to wound versus strength higher than their toughness. So usually going to be -1 to hit, -1 to be wounded, 4 up invulnerable, 2 up armor save. They're just tough. They've got a nice anti-horde weaponry with the sprayers, and they're one of the hardest hitting things we have in close combat. They are a bit susceptible to getting Armor Contempt blocked because they're only AP2 in this attachment and can go down to AP1 from Armor Contempt. However, one of these guys making sort of like a slingshot charge, which we've talked about before, as like the secrets playing Flyblown, can really sort of end the game there and then. So I'm not surprised to see 3 huge bricks of these guys. Obviously, probably going to be joined by a Terminator Sorcerer, more than likely Typhus, or Typhus could technically join one of the squads of Poxwalkers, but I imagine in this detachment, they're probably rocking with all the Death Shroud Terminators. And then we have 3 squads of 20 Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are the best unit in Flyblown Host. They're just stupidly cheap. Stealth permanently makes them kind of a really absurdly annoying to remove for their points cost. 100 points for 20 wounds at 5 up, feel no pain. -1 to be hit. You can obviously give them -1 to be wounded from the Blight Haulers. Makes them an absolute pain to remove for the points, and they're just really good at basically just absorbing firepower, standing on objectives, tagging things, and getting in the way. So I think there's 2 things that basically go into every Flyblown Host list. It should be 60 Poxwalkers straight away, and then at least 2 squads of Death Shroud, and then you can build around that. But he's gone for the full 3 Death Shroud in this one. Then we've got 2 Mephitic Blight Haulers. They're okay, they're still pretty good, cheap Demon Engine units, they can do actions and things like that. They're not really bringing them for the guns too much, although it's nice to have at Odd Multi-Melter. It's more that they give access to the -1 to wound stratagem, which is really nice to be able to put on Poxwalkers. And you can also put it on Death Shroud Terminators if you're against an opponent that has +1 to wound, because your -1 to wound will negate the +1 to wound, and then you have another -1 to wound from either the Death Shroud rule or the Blight Hauler rule, which will then actually make it -1 to wound. So that's quite nice. Then backing up the rear, we got a squad of demons, so we got some demon allies. We got 1 squad of 3 Nurglings, so a small squad of Nurglings. 1 squad of 6 Nurglings, so we've got plenty of infiltrating screens, so guaranteeing getting your scouts off, which is really good in this detachment, very important. Whether you need the full 9, I'm not sure, but I'd be happy, you know, it worked clearly, so 9 is good. I probably think 1 times 6 is usually enough, but I'm more than happy to see 9. Again, if you got 40 points here, I probably would take the Rejuvenating Swarm off, take the Nurglings and swap them out for like another unit of Cultists, potentially. But again, this worked clearly, so I'm not here to insult Kevin's list or anything like that. I just think that'd be like 1 change I'd slightly make. But again, I'm not the one that's gone 5-0 this thing, so Kevin's clearly onto something. And we got a squad of 10 Plague Bearers. Plague Bearers are great in this attachment. They add sticky back to the game, which is very important for Flyblown. It means that you can stick an objective and keep the pressure going forward. They're also OC2 each at toughness 5, with a pretty good, you know, they get the +1 to the charge, which is really nice. So you can potentially do a deep strike charge, worst case scenario. But extra OC in this attachment is always welcome, because the entire point of this attachment is to keep your opponent having 0 primary all the time and you keep scoring. So a really cool list. He faced in his win path Tactical Brigade Orcs, which can actually be quite scary. They shoot really hard. However, you do have the advantage of all the tank busters not really having anything great to shoot at. There's no real tanks here, so not going to get the rerolls. But it's still scary. Flash kits are scary. But once you start connecting with this and locking down the Orcs, you'll be alright and start sort of chopping through them. We generally have a pretty good matchup into Orcs anyway, so I can see this being quite nice once you start making contact. I think first turn will be quite important. Tau Retaliation Cadre. I mean, you're -1 to hit on literally everything, which obviously Tau really don't like straight off the bat, which is not great for them. Ret Cadre kind of need to get close, and the one thing you don't want to do against Flyblown Host is give it charges. So once you get charging, once you get tagging and tying up all these Tau units, there's a good chance that they're just not going to be able to burn through at the rate that you're standing on objectives and tying them up and taking primary off them. So quite nice. Astra Militarum, quite a difficult matchup for this one, so quite good to see that you got the win off on this one. Again, you've really just got to tag tanks, tag into like guardsmen, kill them with zombies so you regenerate some guys here or there, and just kind of keep the pressure on. In this detachment is always that pressure, you can't lay off for a second. Then face Demons with Incursion, which again, it's a melee matchup, so you're not really getting much use out of your stealth rule, but again, if you play it right, you play it smart, you can generally bully a lot of the smaller demon units with Death Shroud, and the bigger ones, you can kind of tie a lot of them up with just Poxwalkers, for example. A Great Unclean one's going to take forever to get out of a Poxwalker jail, so you can kind of just sit there and keep them there for quite some time, which is quite nice. And last but not least, Dark Angel Stormlance, which again, could potentially be a very scary matchup, the -1 to damage on the Deathwing Knights with the advance and charge, but once again, this detachment wasn't really looking to kill you in the first place. It's looking to tie you up, sit there, say you don't get primary while it scores all the time, and who cares if I never kill you at Deathwing Knights? If that Deathwing Knights never gets to leave combat, because I've shoved, you know, 20 Poxwalkers around it, I've got you with some Death Shroud in there as well, you're never leaving combat, I'm not being shot now, great, happy days, I'm, you know, 30 OC on the point, you're 5, cool, let's do this all day. So a really nice win there for Kevin. Congratulations, mate. Excellent showing. It's cool to see Flyblown Host kicking some ass. So well done, Kevin. Up next, we've got Ranchen Lee with a 4 wins and 1 loss at the Dark Sphere GT, 62 player event with 6th place finish, which is really well done, excellent mate. And he's gone for sort of more a traditional, not traditional, there's the Plague Storm kind of like variety list. We are rocking the characters Mortarion and the Icon Bearer. My techie piece. 1x5 Plague Marines in a Death Guard Rhino. I actually remembered to put the Rhino this time, guys. Are you proud of me? 1 squad of 10 cultists, and then we've got 3 Predator Destructors rocking all the las cannons, 2 Fletted Bloat Drones rocking the Spitters, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers rocking all the entry cannons, and 2 War Dog Brigands. So going a bit taller than we are wider, because Brigands are quite expensive. But a lot of shooting firepower still here. So 3 Predator Destructors, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 Brigands, and you still got the Bloat Drones, and you've got a cultist to play forward. Mortarion still here. We've still got the Plague Marines. You've got the Icon Bearer who can disembark 8, advance D6, and still pop the banner. So you don't need as many units to push forward to get Contagion out, because the Icon Bearer can give you that 1 super turn of Contagion, which is enough for you to make an impact and like pick up 1 or 2 tanks or 1 or 2 units, which is really nice. And the Brigands are just still, they're expensive, but they're still an extremely scary unit, you know, hitting on 2s with that chain cannon. And again, you may notice the lack of spitters in this one, but it's because the 2 chain cannons from the Brigands sort of makes up for that, because they can just spray away any hordes. And they also bring the amazing thermal spear that can deal with the anti-tank issues that you can run into, because las cannons are great, they don't always get the job done. Entropy cannons are really whiffy, only strength 10, so making sure you've just got extra 2 thermal spears there, potentially with the melter 4 damage, is going to be really, really nice. Now, Ranchen faced Eldari, sort of aspect host, managed to crush them. He faced a mirror match with Death Guard Plague Company, smashed that one, and that Plague Company had a lot more Terminators and things like that, which, you know, Plague Storm can do pretty well against. Predator Destructors just eat Death Shroud alive. It's kind of grim, especially if you've got Mortarion nearby. Chaos Space Marine Veterans of the Long War, and then he had a 1-point loss to an Ultramarines Gladius, which is the worst matchup you can get for Plague Storm, because trying to outshoot the sort of shooty Ultramarines build is very hard with the oaths and +1 to wound and Gilliman and all that stuff. Vindicators are just horrendous, and to get a 1-point loss from that is incredibly close and really unlucky for Ranchen. Like a single secondary at any point could have swung that entire game. So I'm not surprised to see the loss there, but I am very happy to see how close it was. Ranchen, you played exceptionally well. You should be very proud of yourself. But that is, even from Nathan Roberts, who kind of made the whole Plague Storm list, that is, in his eyes, like one of our worst matchups possible is the Ultramarines. Double Vindicator, double Ballistas, like shooty bang bang list. And then rocking up the back, we've got Dark Angel's Gladius, which he managed to then take vengeance upon and smash the Gladius into the absolute ground with his Plague Storm. So, well done, Mr. Ranchen Lee. A great, cool looking list. A little bit of a spin on Plague Storm for those who enjoy War Dogs a bit more and like the reliability of the Brigand shooting. So, if you enjoy your Brigands, you've missed them, and you want to play a Plague Storm build, check out Ranchen's. And then, last but not least, I promised Ben I would cover him. I accidentally skipped him. Not accidentally, I have to pick certain lists, and I've missed him a few times when he's done well, so I promised I'd get him in this one. So we've got Ben Hacklander, 4 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw at the Hamburg Major, and a 103 player event with WTC scoring, and he managed to finish in 3rd place, which is an excellent finish. He's rocking Plague Company. We've got Mortarion, 3 squads of 10 Death Guard cultists, so it's very much more traditional Plague Storm list, this one. 3 Predator Annihilators, 3 Predator Destructors, 3 Fetid Bloat Drones rocking 2 Mowers and 1 Spitter. And then, again, this is the difference though. This one, it goes heavy on Predators, but it eschews the Plague Burst Crawlers out for Mythic Blight Halls. So we have 1 squad of 2 Mythic Blight Halls and 2 squads of 1 Mythic Blight Halls, and then a Carnival bringing up the rear. So he's gone with a even wider build than my Plague Storm, where he's taken out the most expensive things, which were the Plague Burst Crawlers, and replaced them with multiple Mythic Blight Haulers. This has also allowed him to get the points to put in the Annihilators, and also by dropping the Rhino, the Marines, and the Icon Bearer, he's gone even more on the Predators. So this is very Predator. 6 Predators here. 6 Predators. 3 Annihilators with all the las cannons, 3 Destructors with all the Plague Heavy Bolters, and that is a lot of cheap firepower. Like, you lose a Predator, you don't care. You've got 5 more. Great. You can bait people out with that. You can do a lot of things, and Blight Halls are also great. There's so many baiting units here because nothing itself is expensive. Par Morty. Like a Blight Hauler, you expose that, it dies, cool. Predators swing out, kill whatever killed that. Brilliant, we're up on points. Like, you don't win a trading war against this kind of Plague Storm because the vehicles in this detachment are just so cheap. So, really cool sort of go wide strategy to see with Plague Storm in this one. So if you're not a Plague Burst Crawler fan, you think they're still too overcosted, you think you don't like the indirect, this could be a build for you to try. Yes, you do kind of have to get 6 Predators out there, but you know, that's not a bad thing. Predators are really, really, really good at the moment. And I'm not surprised to see this do well. So an excellent showing there. And also the one Water Dog Carnivore likes to sit in reserves. You know, you can rapid ingress that bad boy on for a board edge. It runs 14, goes and twats something. Or, you know, that thing can sort of act as a linebacker. It starts in your army against aggressive armies like World Eaters, and it can react to where your opponent starts to pressure you. So the win path for this one, he went against Space Wolves, the champions of Russ, Death Guard, Plague Company, CSM Creations of Bile twice in a row, which is, again, a testament to how much this list can actually do well under pressure. People think Plague Storm crumbles the second it gets pressured. It does not. Like, this thing will shoot its way out pretty easily, and Creations of Bile is very much a pressure aggression list. It just goes, it just like boom on top of your turn one with like 30 possessed. And he managed to beat both of them. So this list, I imagine in that detachment, if it's like 30 possessed, he probably used his Annihilators as like screens, because 3 las cannon shots you don't really care about. The important thing in that matchup is the Destructors. And they basically, as soon as like the initial wave crashed against him, they fell back. The Predator Destructors just absolutely annihilated something. The Carnivore charged another unit, wiped out a bunch there, and then Mortarion joined the charge. And you can honestly kill about 20 possessed pretty easily in a turn. Again, they're Vuns dependent, but this thing can shoot its way out of a troublesome scenario, no problem. And then he only got a draw in the very final round versus Necron Star Shatter. And remember, this is WTC scoring, so I think he actually won it on points. But in terms of the way they score, you have to win by at least 5 points or it's a draw. So it was within 5 points. So unfortunately, it does count as a draw. Star Shatter is quite scary. You know, it's 2 very tank-heavy shooty lists, but again, Ben can outvalue it, because again, if Ben exposes one tank and loses it, but then he picks up a Doomsday Axe for that, he can rinse and repeat that. They will run out of Doomsday Axe before he runs out of his stuff. So really well played by Ben there. And again, another cool spin on sort of a Plague Storm. We are seeing Plague Storm coming up in popularity at the moment. I think it's to do with the game in general and the meta. There's just a lot of tanks around at the moment. And because we can bring so many cheap tanks, we can kind of outvalue that, or people can struggle to kill the amount we have. Plus, unfortunately, our best anti-tank is our tanks. Par outside of like Lord of Contagion, Death Shroud. So we're kind of just pivoting with the meta at the moment, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll see a sort of return to form, but don't think you can only play Plague Storm. We had a Flyblown host do well, and there's still people doing 4-on-1s very respectably with a more traditional sort of Death Shroud, Plague Marine mix like that. But these are just the 3 I sort of wanted to highlight out to sort of bring a bit more attention to Plague Storm and also bring some attention to Flyblown host. But again, don't feel like you have to go out and just run tanks only. Listen to our streams, you'll see there's lots of builds doing well. We had an interview with Zito, who's running like a Land Raider with a load of Death Shroud, with a Chaos Lord with Plague Marines. That's an awesome episode, absolute great player. So check that out if you want sort of like a different build. But yeah, just keep playing your Death Guard, guys. We're doing really well at the moment. It's really cool to see all the different sort of variety of builds that are coming through. And you know, I'm always impressed to see what people are doing well with. So thank you very much for listening for now, everyone. Short and sweet these episodes as always, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much to our friends over at Vanguard Tactics for sort of partnering with the channel. Go check those guys out. Battle reports, tactics, guides, coaching, all that good stuff. We have our friends at Element Games. We have an affiliate link in the description below. You buy anything from them in the UK, use the affiliate link. We get a couple crystals, you get a couple crystals. Everyone's happy. And then we have our friends at Saltire Games, who have an Etsy page. Again, link in the description. They make all sorts of gaming aids, including ones themed around Disgustingly Resilient Podcast, which is really cool. Use promo code NERGLE to get 10% off your order. And obviously, last but not least, thank you to our amazing YouTube members. You guys on the Discord are always bullying me, making fun of me about my height specifically. So thank you so much for always being there to make sure that I am kept humble, especially about my height. And we've been having a good laugh at the moment about British foods, because apparently they're quite a mystical thing to Americans. We've had a good laugh there. But you guys are always awesome. If you do want to become part of the community, do consider becoming a Plague Marine. But if not, at least leaving a like and a subscribe if you're not already subscribed helps the channel grow massively, and we will continue to make these videos for you guys so you can keep on top of what is doing well in the Death Guard meta going forward. And these next few months are about to get very spicy very quickly, because everything's going to get changed up. Eldar are here, Guard are here, and who knows, maybe even soon we will be here. But until then, stay right, everybody, take care, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. Bye bye for now. See you later.